Hello everyone and welcome back to a new series. In this series, we're going to be recreating Pet Simulator X in Roblox Studio, and by the end of this series, you should have a fully working Pet Simulator X style game. And also, if you guys want to support me and want to have access to all of my project files, including the one you're watching right now, without having to follow through my tutorials, the link will be in the description. Everything is available on my Patreon in the $10 tier. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is set up our project. So what I'm going to do is add a folder in replicated storage. I'm going to call it shared, and I'm going to add a folder called remote, and then I'm going to go to start player, add a start player scripts, add a local script, and I'm going to call it client, and then I'm going to add a folder called inside of the client script, and it's going to be called client modules. Now remove this print hello world from here, and then what I'm going to do is go to server script service or server storage, and I'm going to add a folder called player data, and I'm going to add another folder. By the way, ignore this Archimedes underscore storage folder, it's just from a plugin. Now I'm going to add a folder called modules or server modules. And then I'm going to add a server script inside of server script service, and I'm going to call it remote listener. And then I'm going to add another script, and this will be called data. Now, inside of the data script, what I'm going to do is create some services. So local replicated storage is equal to game get service replicated storage, and local players is equal to game get service players, and local server storage is equal to game get service server storage. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just getting some services. So server storage, we're just creating references for services. Now what I'm going to do is create a function. So local function new player, and that will take the player as an argument. And then I'm going to create a function for player leaving, again player. And then what I'm going to do is inside of the services here, I'm going to get another service, and it's going to be data store service, game get service data store service. And then what I'm going to do is down here I'm going to do players dot player added connect new player. Now players dot player removing connect player leaving. Now what we're doing here is whenever a new player is added, we'll call this new player function, and whenever a player is removing, we'll call the player leaving function. Now what I'm going to do is basically this might be a bit buggy, so what I'm going to do is actually never mind, we're not going to do that yet. Now what I'm going to do inside of this new player function is, before I actually do that, I'm going to create a variable, a reference for our player data folder. So local player data is equal to server storage dot player data. And what I'm going to do is add a folder inside of the player data folder, and it's going to be called leader stats. And I'm going to add another folder, and this one will be called stats. And the reason why we have two folders, now the main folder will be the stats folder, and the leader stats will just be able to display the players' currencies. Now the reason why I have two folders instead of just having leader stats is so that I can abbreviate the leader stats, so that it says for example 1 million instead of 1 and 6 zeros. And in the stats folder we'll have a string value. Let me explain. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, for example, we have a string value called coins inside of this stats folder, and then we have another one called coins in leader stats. Now if the stats folder is for example 1000, the leader stats folder will be 1k. Now the reason why we are doing this, we are using two folders, is because you can't really subtract a number from a string, because this is 1k. You can't really subtract anything. You can't do 1k minus 1, but you can do 1000 minus 1. So this will make more sense when we actually get into the abbreviations and stuff. So what I'm going to do for now is add a string value inside of the stats folder. String value, and it's going to be called coins. And I'm going to have another string value, and it's going to be called gems. Both of them will have a value of 0, and I'm going to copy them, paste them inside of my leader stats folder, and don't do anything to the values too. Now what I'm going to do is, whenever a player joins, we'll loop through for underscore comma folder comma or maybe instance in pairs player data get children do local cloned is equal to instance, make sure it's a non-capital I, a lowercase I, instance colon cloned dot parent is equal to player. Make sure it's not players, make sure it's player. And now if you play the game, you should have you should have your leader stats up here, gems and coins. Okay, now what I'm going to do is add the number abbreviation system. Now what you're gonna do is get the module inside of that I will leave in the description of this video. It's called certain abbreviation module. So I'm just going to try to okay, it's called format number. Now get it and go to toolbox, my models, and get this format number module. And then you're gonna drag this module inside of the shared folder, and then enter your data script. And what I'm going to do after this is firstly require the module. So I'm going to do local shared is equal to, and replicated storage replicated storage dot shared, and then local format number is equal to shared dot format number alt. Now what I'm going to do is, actually we need to require this, require this. And what I'm going to do is local stats, okay, I don't know why this turns blue. Let's do stats folder is equal to player dot stats, and local leader stats is equal to player dot leader stats. Now what I'm going to do is for underscore comma val in pairs stats folder get children do, and val dot changed connect function, and I'm going to do val dot value. I'm going to do leader stats find first child val dot name dot value is equal to, and format number dot format compact or format standard. You can choose, you can test all of these and see what it does. So format compact, and I'm going to, it takes the value, which is to number. So we're gonna because it's a string, we're gonna turn the value to a number. So to number, and val dot value, and that's all you gotta do. Now what I'm going to do is copy this line of code and paste it here. Now this you might have this yellow line, but don't worry about it. It should work perfectly fine. Okay, so it has an error, and it says leader stats is not a valid member of POLARISPROG, and that is totally normal. It's because it says leader stats with a lowercase l. And as you can see, that should work. Now what I'm going to do is go on the server and go to my stats folder, and I'm going to change my coins value to 5. And my leader stats value should also change. Yes. Now I'm going to change it to 1,500, and now it says 1.5k. Now what I'm going to do is show you what format standard does. So format standard. So here is what format standard does. I'm pretty sure it's like Pet Simulator X. So if I just change my coins value or my gems value to just a big number, as you can see, it puts commas in between. Now I'm just going to put it to 10,000. As you can see, it just puts a comma between each thing. And now what I'm going to do is, you see the order is reversed when you play the game. The order of these is reversed. Coins is behind gems, and to fix that, you just rename the coins value to gems and the gems value to coins, and do the same thing here. Gems will be called coins and coins will be called gems. This is a bit confusing, but it will make sense. And now it should work. Okay, it works now. Only do this if it's reversed. Okay, so now we have our number abbreviation system done. What I'm going to do now is show you how to make our pet module. So to do that, I'm going to go to server storage, server modules, and I'm going to add a module script, and it's going to be called pet module. And what I'm going to do is get some services here. So local replicated storage is equal to game colon get service replicated storage, and local players. Okay, I don't think we need the player service. We'll get the services if we need them. Now what I'm going to do is add a folder inside of replicated storage, and it's going to be called pets. Now I'm going to firstly make a pet. Now as always, I'll leave a link to this pet pack in the description if I can find it. So pet pack, I think it's, nope, it's not this. Yep, it's this. I'll leave a link to this in the description. It's 100 high quality pets. They look pretty cool. We're gonna choose a random pet here. Actually, I'm going to choose 3 pets. So I'm going to choose the, okay, going to choose this pet here. So it's called little demon. I'm going to copy it, paste it in the workspace, paste into, and I'm going to move it somewhere. Okay, I just moved it there. Now I'm going to choose another one, and for me it's going to be this one. Action, I'm going to paste it. By the way, I just cut it by pressing Ctrl X. I'm going to paste that into the workspace, and I'm just going to move this here. And then I'm going to choose another pet, and it's going to be maybe this big pet here. I'm just going to choose this, Ctrl X, go back here and paste it here. And now we need to set these pets up. Now I'm just going to choose another pet, I think. Yep, I'm just going to pick this cool robot. Just going to paste it in the workspace. And now I'm going to go here. Now I can just get rid of this pet pack. And I'm just going to show you how to set up your pets. So to set up these pets, you're gonna get a plugin called Animator, because it has an easy weld function integrated in it. And select your pet. By the way I just zoomed in is by pressing F. Okay, so select your pet, add a part, and to make sure that this part is facing the right way, we're gonna add a decal to it, and we're gonna make sure that the face of the decal is set to front. So as you can see now, okay, front. So as you can see now, it's not facing the right way. So I'm going to turn it by just pressing Ctrl R, and now it is facing the right way. And now I'm just going to cover the pet. I'm going to get rid of the decal, and I'm going to set this part's transparency to 0.6. And I'm going to cover the pet with this part. Something like this. This. And this. And then I'm going to make the part smaller. As you can see now, the part is covering the pet correctly. So what I'm going to do is rename this part to primary. And I'm going to select my pet and go to the primary part, the pet model, primary part. By the way, it has to be a model. And select primary. Now the primary part is set to this primary part. Now I'm going to change the transparency of this primary part to 1. And what I'm going to do is get rid of any welds that are inside of this pet. So I'm just going to open up all of the parts and just get rid of all of the welds. Okay, now what I'm going to do is go to my Moon Animator plugin, go to Easy Weld, go to Model, and select your model, and then select your primary part. Now just press Weld Model, and now it's welded. Now make sure that all of the parts inside of this pet are not anchored. So make sure that anchored is unchecked, and can collide is unchecked. Now select your primary part and also make sure that it's not anchored and that can collide is unchecked. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a vector3 value inside of each pet. Vector3 value, and I'm going to call it attachment position. Now just keep it at 0, 0, 0 for now. I'll show you why we have this later. Now I'm just going to repeat this process for all of the pets that I have, and I'll be back when I am done with this. Okay, so this took a little longer than expected, but I just set up all of the pets I have, and what I need to do now is drag all of them inside of the pets folder. So drag them inside of the pets folder and go to your pet module, and what I'm going to do is create a function module.equip pet, and I'm going to create another function called module.unequip pet, and I'm going to add another function. Actually, never mind. Yes, I will add it. Module.unequip all pets, and this will take an argument which will be the player. So player, capital P, player, and now what I'm going to do is local character is equal to player.character, and what I'm going to do here is if player, then I will put this in, and then we'll check if character, then, and if the character is there, what we're going to do is we'll create an attachment. So what I'm going to do is actually, yes, okay, so if character dot humanoid root part find first child pet attachment, then if not character dot humanoid root part find first child pet attachments, then what we're gonna do is local pet attachments is equal to instance.new folder, and pet attachments dot name is equal to pet attachments, and pet attachments dot parent is equal to and character dot humanoid root part. Now what I'm going to do is local pet attachments is equal to character dot humanoid root part colon find first child pet attachments, and then I'm going to check if pet attachments then. So if it is there, then what we're gonna do is local attachment 1 is equal to instance.new, and it will be a, or actually, yep, local attachment 1 instance.new attachment, and attachment 1 dot name is equal to attachment 1, and attachment 1 dot position is equal to, and vector 3. Actually, what I forgot about this is I also have to get the pet in here, sorry. So pet model local, okay, so we set the position to pet model colon find first child, and it's called attachment position dot value. Now after that, attachment 1 dot parent is equal to character dot humanoid root part, and then what I'm going to do is local pet attachment or attachment 2 is equal to instance dot new attachment, and attachment 2 dot name is equal to attachment 2, and attachment 2 dot position. Actually, we don't need to set the position, we'll just have to parent it to pet model dot primary part. Now what I'm going to do is up here we're gonna put this inside of here, and down here we're gonna create a reference to our pets folder, so replicated storage dot pets. Now this will be the pet name instead of the pets folder, and I'm going to do local pet model is equal to pets colon find your child pet name. Now we're gonna check if pet model then we're gonna do all of this. By the way, I just pressed Ctrl X and Ctrl V to paste it there, to paste the entire code here. Now what we need to do is create an align position. So local align position is equal to and instance.new align position, and I just realized I spelled it wrong. So align position dot attachment 0 is equal to attachment 1, and align position dot attachment 2 dot attachment 1 is equal to and attachment 2. It's just kind of messed up, so I'm going to change this to attachment 0 and this to attachment 1. I'm going to change all of these to attachment 0 and this to attachment 1 and this to attachment 1. And I'm going to change this to attachment 0 and this to attachment 1. That was kind of confusing, but you should get it. Okay, so align position dot rigidity enabled is equal to true. And by the way, a very important thing that I forgot to mention is to make sure that the primary part, that all of your parts in each of your pets is massless. So go to massless and make sure that it's checked. So just do that to all of your pets. So just select all of the parts and make sure that massless is checked, because this is very, very, very important. Now what I'm going to do is, after checking rigidity enabled, let me check what other properties we need to change. Visible is set to false by default. Enabled, I'm pretty sure it's also set to true by default. And max force, that's automatically set. Okay, I'm going to try this again. Align position. Okay, so when you check rigidity enabled, it doesn't let you change those settings anymore. Okay, that's good. Okay. Actually, what I'm going to do is inside of each of my pets. Okay. So inside of each of my pets, I'm going to have an int value, and this will be max force. And let me check what other settings we need to change: the max force and the responsiveness. So responsiveness. Okay, I spelled it wrong. Responsiveness. And what I'm going to do is get rid of this align position I just created. Now copy both of these values. Control C to copy, paste them inside of all of your pets. So select all of your pets, right click, paste into selected. Now what I'm going to do is align position dot rigidity enabled is equal to false, and align position dot max force is equal to pet model dot max force dot value. And let's check that. Okay, dot value. And align position dot responsiveness is equal to pet model dot responsiveness dot value. Now what I'm going to do is then parent the align position dot parent to the pet model's primary part. So pet model dot primary part. Now what I'm going to do is check. Okay, so we have that done. Now we need an align orientation. So copy this, paste it here, change this to align orientation. And I'm pretty sure it does not have a max force value. It's called max torque. And responsiveness it also has responsiveness. Okay, and those are all the settings we need to change. I think align orientation. Max torque, responsiveness. Yep, that's all we need to change. Now I'm just going to get rid of that, and I'm going to change this to align orientation instead. So align orientation, align orientation, align orientation. Now just do it for all of them. Now this should hopefully work. So what I'm going to do is try this with my green pet. I'm going to change the attachment position to 0. Oh, that voice crack there. Okay, 0, 3 on the Y, and maybe 3 on the Z. Now what I'm going to change the responsiveness to 25, and I'm going to change the max force to something like 10,000. So 1,000, 10,000. Now I'm going to go back to my data script. I'm going to just put a task dot wait 5 seconds, and I'm going to require this module. So local pets module is equal to require, and server modules. So I'm going to create a variable for that. So local server modules is equal to replicated storage dot server modules. Actually server storage dot server modules, and require server modules dot pet module. Now I'm going to wait 5 seconds, and I'm going to do pet module dot equip pet. Pet module, not pets module. So pet module dot equip pet. That will take the player and the name of the pet, which is green pet. Now I'll play the game and hope for the best. Okay, so it looks like it does not work. Oh, I know why. Okay, pet model. If pet model, then okay, clone. Okay, then pet model is equal to pet model clone, and pet model dot parent is equal to, and I'm going to just parent it to workspace dot pet. Actually, I'm just going to parent it to maybe the player, not character. Maybe the okay. Okay, I'm going to parent it to the workspace. I'm going to add a folder to the workspace, and I'm going to call it pets. And I'm going to add another folder. Okay, is equal to workspace.pet. Find first child player dot name. Okay, now what I'm going to do here is just go to my data script, and what I'm going to do is whenever a new player is added, I'm going to do local pet folder is equal to instance.new. I'm going to create a folder, and pet folder dot parent is equal to workspace dot pets, and pet folder dot name is equal to player dot name. And now what I'm going to do is whenever a player is leaving, if workspace.pets, find first child player.name, then copy this, paste it here, destroy. That should work now. If I play the game now, hopefully that will work. So after 5 seconds, okay, what just happened? Okay, well, it doesn't work. Let's play it again. See what happens. So it creates the pet, but the pet falls. Okay. So to fix that, what I'm going to do is up the force. So the max force will be... Oh, it's collidable, by the way, which I forgot to uncheck. Okay. All of them are not collidable. So why is there... Oh, wait, green pet. Make sure that can collide is unchecked on all of them. Now the responsiveness is 25, the max force. I'm going to up this to a much bigger number. And now I'm going to play the game. And hope for the best again. Okay, does not work at all. Okay, why is it doing that? Okay, I'll be back when I fix this. Okay, so I just found out how to fix it, and it was actually very simple. All I had to do was go to the attachment 0. Okay, rename this, flip these. So this will be attachment 1. So just do this, and this will be attachment 0. And set this to attachment 0. Okay, now it should work. So after 5 seconds, it should work. Okay, so as you can see, it does work. Now you can mess around with these settings. Let me show you what each setting does. Where am I? Okay, I'm here. If I go ahead and change the max force to 2, actually that won't work because it does not update while I'm doing it. So what I'm going to do is change the responsiveness to a lower value to 10, and the attachment position will be, maybe it will be, okay. What I'm going to do to update this in real time is I'm going to, by the way, we're not going to do this in the finished product, but just do it for now. Is game get service run service dot render dot heartbeat connect function. Now align position dot position is equal to, and pet model dot oh, okay. Oh, never mind. All we gotta do is attachment. I think it's attachment 0 dot position is equal to, and pet model dot attachment position dot value, and attachment. Now I gotta do align position dot max force is equal to, and green, and pet model dot so we're gonna set it to pet model dot max force dot value, and align orientation dot max torque is equal to pet model dot max force dot value, and align okay, now we need to do align position dot responsiveness is equal to pet model dot responsiveness. Okay, let me just copy this responsiveness dot value, and align orientation dot responsiveness is equal to okay, we're gonna set it to pet model dot responsiveness dot value. Now this should work, so I'm just going to play the game and see how this looks. Okay, so where is the, okay, it's here. So what I need to do is change the responsiveness, or maybe the attachment position to 5 on the Z. Okay, nothing happens. We have errors. Attachment position is not a valid member of pet model. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I just spelled it wrong. Now it should work. So I'm just going to go somewhere, and the pet should come to me now. Okay. Now we can just change that. So pets, green pet, attachment position, can change this to 3. And as you can see, that's what it does. Now I'm going to actually change it to -3. And I'm going to change the Y. I want this to go up. So 5. Or actually, this makes it go down. Now I want this pet to fly, so I'm just going to put it to 1. Or to, yep, 1 is good. Now the X will be something like 3. Okay, that is very good. Now we're gonna see what happens if I drag the player. As you can see, the responsiveness is pretty good, I would say. Actually, it's not really that good. I'm going to change the responsiveness to 5. Okay, this is a lot better. It feels a lot more natural. Okay, now the max force should change. So the max force, I'll change this to 25,000. Okay, this is a lot better. Okay, this is how I'm going to keep it. So let's just take a screenshot of these settings and paste them in. So this is 3, 1, -3. Okay, the others I remember. So I'm just going to change this. Where is it? Okay, so in the green pet, I'm going to have my attachment position set to that. And then I'm going to have my max force set to 25,000. And then I'm going to change the responsiveness to 25. Well, actually to 5. If I remember correctly. Now we can just get rid of this. Just save this. I'm just going to show you how to do that. And just do 2 minus signs and these squares. Now you can just end it here by doing another 2 minus signs and the other brackets, the other square brackets in the other way. Now whenever you want to test out a pet, just do that and it should work. Now we're going to work on the unequipped pet function. So that will take the pet name. Now we're gonna copy a lot of stuff in here. Okay. Actually, we don't need to copy a lot of stuff. We're gonna do if workspace dot if player then I'm gonna do if pet name then we're gonna do if workspace dot pet find first child player dot name, then we're gonna do if player dot pet find first child player dot name find first child pet name, then if we do, what we're gonna do is copy this, paste it here, and go and destroy. Now what I'm going to do is try that out again with, I'm going to enter my data script, and I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to do task.wait and maybe 10 seconds. I'm going to change this to 2, and pet module dot unequip pet, and that will take the player and the green pet. Now if I play the game, that should work. Okay, it does work, but as you can see, this is kind of messed up. Okay, it does unequip it, good. But I need to fix some stuff with my pet because I don't think it's set correctly. So the attachment position, instead of having it at -3, I'm going to have it at 3. And now if I play the game, that should be good. Okay, now it's good. Now, okay, it lags sometimes. I don't really know why. Okay, it doesn't equip it. Okay, one thing that I'm going to do to make the pet come instantly to me, what I'm going to do is go back to my pet module script. So I'm going to make the pet teleport. So what I'm going to do is pet model, before we do any of this, pet model dot primary part dot c frame is equal to character dot humanoid group part dot c frame. Then do all of this. Okay, now as you can see, the pet spawns near me whenever I do something. Okay, now we need to set the network ownership so that it's not laggy like this. And I'll make sure to lower this value in here. I'm going to wait. I'm not going to destroy the pet. I'm not going to unequip it. I'm going to go back here, and what we're going to do is pet model colon set network dot net. I think it's colon set net. Okay, I don't remember it. I'll be back when I remember it. Okay, so I just looked it up. It's you get the primary part, then you do colon set primary colon set network owner, and then you put it to the player. So let's do that. I'm going to go back to Roblox Studio, set network, okay, pet model dot primary part colon set network owner, and you just put the player. Now that should be a lot less laggy, I think. Okay, so as you can see, it doesn't lag anymore. It's a lot smoother. And yeah, just set up all of your other pets. Okay. So it's a bit weird, so I think I still have to mess around with some settings. But I think this is going to be it for today's tutorial. If this helped, make sure to subscribe, like the video, share it with your friends, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!